Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
Welcome back to Flyover State of Film. We are back. I got Brian, I got Yusuf, I got TJ, and we're at episode 99, our favorite year of film, 1999.
Oh, yeah.
How's everyone doing? I can't believe, we're one away from 100, so I'll save all the sappy anniversary stuff, but 99 episodes, almost 4 years. That's
What
insane.
a waste of time.
I have a new theory that, once we hit 100, Brian and you can be like, all right, we're good. 100 guys, we're out.
I've just been waiting for that 100, baby. Triple digits.
I wanted to hit that milestone, I didn't
He's
quite get there. I didn't quite get there with the bunker, and I was like, this time I promised myself.
I picture you both having, conversations with your wives, being like, we're on 86. I can do 14 more, and we're almost there. Just
86 sounds so wrong, right?
We'll go to Joe's wedding. It's fine, but it's really just so we hit 100.
TJ's ruining everything as of right now, so we got to get out of here.
So we gotta hurry. We gotta bail. Hurry.
All right.
We almost got canceled.
Gotta burn these bridges.
I know. Well, between 99 and 100, we might get canceled, so we don't worry about it.
You guys have a funny joke?
Yeah.
No, I
Okay.
The link in the doobly-doo and the thing.
And also like and subscribe.
Because you really would like to follow us.
You really thought you were clicking on a link to
Funny,
see South Park
articulate.
bigger.
Look how we're not babbling at all. How we all have things to say.
Everyone really thought they were clicking on a link for South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut to watch the movie for free on YouTube. But
exactly. I appreciate all the people who are here by accident.
If you stuck
Thank you
around,
for being here for 10 seconds. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Okay. So anyway, this week though, I'm glad it kind of landed on one of my episodes, or hosting episodes. Is Scream 6 news of the Nev Campbell is so eye-rollingly crunchy.
Can you summarize it for me? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah. So basically, Nev Campbell was doing a con, and she said, no, I'm not returning for Scream 6, basically putting it down to a contract dispute and saying, I've also done a lot with the character and I know my value. Fine. The internet and even writers and people are acting like someone has died, as if she'll never return, as if this is the worst thing to ever happen to something that you're like, how the fuck does Scream even have 6 movies in the antithesis of what Scream is? I literally saw a tweet today being like, at least she gets to live her life with her children about the fucking character. And it's guys,
they're giving well, Sidney Prescott got a good send off.
Yeah. It's
cut to the opening sequence being a news reel of Sydney being dead.
My favorite one of those is Final Destination 2, where you find out that Devon Sawa died because of the head
Wasn't everyone so excited because what's her name came back from she was a big part of 4.
Kirby.
Oh, Kirby's coming back.
Coming back. And I agree. I like Kirby.
That's cool. I think there's enough people out there where it's you'll get Sydney's story.
Characters who we think are dead but should come back in legacy sequels. Let me talk to you about Dennis Nedry, okay? So we see the door close. We see a lot of ruckus inside the cab of that Jeep, but we don't know what happened in there. I see a scarred face and an eye patch, maybe one prosthetic arm. spins around in a chair in Jurassic World Dominion. He's been the mastermind the whole time. God,
What
that
if
would
he
be so
has, like,
fucking good.
What if he has like a really sick umbrella in like Costa Rica, but it's the Dilophosaurus' like fin?
Yeah, absolutely. He made himself a big umbrella out of that
Dude,
Dilophosaurus fan.
I think you just wrote a better thing
And they
than
somehow write some dialogue where he gets to say nobody cares, you know? What, huh?
I haven't smoked or drank all day, and I was so fucking lost of what the fuck you were. I was in Scream World still. I was like, who the fuck is
me
he
too.
talking
Me
about?
I know, I'm sorry. Joe's it's Jurassic World Dominion week, and Joe's got his Jurassic Park shirt on, and I have not stopped thinking. I watch is Seinfeld anymore. Ever since they put Seinfeld on Netflix, it's just all that I have on. And
I literally
I
was
just been
watching the
thinking
one
about
with the
how much
royalty
I want
checks.
Wayne Knight to come back in Jurassic World Dominion.
But
hold on
he's
to your
still alive,
butts.
right?
No, he's dead.
Oh, he's probably dead. Yeah.
No, like in real life, I mean.
Oh, the actor's
yeah,
alive.
Wayne Knight,
Yeah, the
very
actor's
alive.
absolutely alive.
If he's not going to show up in Space Jam fucking the remake, why would he show up here, you know?
Yeah,
because because Michael Jordan was like, yeah, I'm not showing up for Space Jam the remake.
That's true. He took his cue
But
from
couldn't
Michael
they have just like put Michael Jordan's animated character that they did at one point in it?
They might have. I forget
Regardless.
that movie. It was a
Annie,
ADD nightmare.
Did Bill Murray return for that one?
No.
I have that jersey though. That's like
But I
you don't
think-
even like Space Jam, but I like the Bill Murray Space Jam jersey.
But I think Jack from The Shining was in the audience. Either way.
Yeah. The weirdest of that movie is the nuns from the band WB movie, or at the time, they're in the background in the fucking audience.
The Droogs from Clockwork Orange in there too.
They
got a lot of rapists at this event.
They put every IP possible in that like crowd, and it's kind of like, oh no, not the nuns, the devils.
Yeah.
The nuns from the devil.
I wasn't trying to like shove Space Jam in here, but let me jam something up your butt right now. I'm actually excited for Jurassic World Dominion, but because like you were rewatching, I was kind of reading your tweets after each one. Jurassic World does get a lot of like unwanted hate.
Just finished it.
To, like a lot of the other movies, but that fucking Fallen Kingdom one, there's no excuse in that. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you what, like I haven't rewatched that one again. I'm getting ready. That's going to be my last one before I see Dominion, and I really think that like it may have gone over the edge into like Moonfall territory, where because it's like a haunted house movie with a dinosaur at the end, and there's an auction, and then like I don't know,
a clone baby.
Yeah, the baby, the clone baby. I don't know.
The point is, with the
I'm going back in with a whole new. I just got a new. I'm not sure what to expect this rewatch. It's so weird. Every time I think about it, I'm like, God damn, that movie's so fucking weird.
Because Brian, you've been tweeting about your watching. I literally, before we recorded, watched Jurassic World for the first time in like 7 years or whatever the fuck it is, and every time it's somehow duller and duller. Where I'm like, this time I was like, is the CGI bad? It's not bad CGI, but like, I was like, it might be kind of bad.
The only one that has really noticeably bad CGI is 3. They really like cut some corners in 3.
Spielberg was completely out.
You want to know why it fucks up the most with 3 is the one scene with the T-Rex where like they all run and they hit the Stegosaurus and it's like it's dead. And he's like, oh, it's dead. And they look up and it's the Stan Winston classic T-Rex, and all of a sudden it cuts to like complete CGI again. Nothing in there is practical minus that one part. You go, what the fuck just happened out of nowhere?
All the feet have like mysterious clouds around them because like they didn't know how to like step with weight, so all the dinosaurs just kind of float through all the scenes and shit.
Why didn't they just reuse all the animatronics from the previous movies?
They're probably like the Smithsonian or some shit.
Well, I know the T-Rex in the very first one got like crazy waterlogged during like it's the big rain scene, and it almost became like Jaws where it wasn't usable.
I think also 3 just like was at that time where it was like, no, time to fully transfer to everything CG no matter what. Like, and Spielberg
it's like
was
2001, and they're just like, and they're like, we're just banging out an 80-minute Jurassic Park movie here, folks. We're not reinventing the wheel.
Spielberg was completely like detached from that third one. Like, you know, he was like, yeah, The Lost World, I don't do sequels anymore.
I always thought the Lost World's underrated. I said it before.
That's fine. But also another thing that kind of came up since we just spoke is the movie meme culture has taken on a new life, right?
I mean,
Yeah, a lot of people
to
are
be
gonna be
fair,
memeing the shit out of Dominion.
to be fair, you have to give it to the Morbius. That is like getting the studio to think they could re-release the movie and make money off of it again because you memed so hard is pretty funny.
Because
Like
it
I
did well
can't
on like
lie.
iTunes. It
But
did
it
well on like
also is
iTunes.
super upsetting that the movie industry is watching Twitter that closely. That is a bad thing.
That
Like,
means they've seen my tweets calling them lazy.
yeah, exactly. Like I just
Do you think they've seen the podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, where's our check? Go see Jurassic World Dominion. It's so good.
We're watching Morbius for episode 100, guys. It's gonna be a live episode, live on stage, Chicago Theater, Rialto. All four of us will be there. You guys
we always
ready?
got our finger directly on the pulse of what people like. That's why we'll be celebrating the movie Prometheus tomorrow. Because
We'll be spending money and making nothing back. So just like Morbius. So there
Guys, the problem with Morbius is that it's so boring that it shouldn't be a meme.
that's the thing I hate about it. Like, and that's what I was complaining about. Fucking film, like the film bros will latch on to something. At least with like, okay, Cats. It legitimately was mind-bogglingly fucked up looking. So there was
Being
really
stoned
something
watching Cats was a terrifying experience in like a good way.
right. There's like something actually there to be like, oh my god, Morbius
Dear
is
Evan
just the
Hansen.
most run-of-the-mill. It's not like Jared Leto isn't doing some crazy performance. It doesn't have some like really bad special effects. The special effects are just like middle of the road. They're fine.
I
The
have two
only thing
questions.
that's really crazy about it is the super terrible
It's the
fucking
name.
post-credit end scenes. But
Even
like
I think
the
it's
rest of the movie is just like a regular
Is-
comic book movie that
is-
comes out before Iron Man.
I
Like,
really
it's
think
not
it's just
a
the
step-
name. Like the name Morbius is somehow like a cheat. Like it's a silly
Well,
name to kind of riff
Is
on.
there like a playful, cool scene on the playground between Morbius and somebody else?
Right,
No.
they don't even have anything.
Does
that good.
Morbius play basketball?
Does it play basketball?
Um.
Oh, jeez.
No, he does pretend.
basketball.
Jared Leto does pretend to be
Venom.
walking impaired for the whole movie. So
What are the
No,
post-credit
he
scenes? I'm
was
never
really
gonna watch
impaired.
this movie.
He had to hold up.
They
a
restructured the Vulture from Spider-Man: Homecoming, but they just had Michael Keaton do this really shoddy voiceover. What doesn't even seem like it's him. And they-
The voiceover is, like I said, that is a legitimately baffling thing.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to make the whole movie meme worthy. You know what I mean? That's just another example of Sony being terrible at trying to set up a universe, and that's just a thing that's been going on for years. Like, that's a funny scene.
All right, we got
It's right up there with Katana's blades eats the soul of its victims and all that, but it's not enough to make it all meme worthy. You know,
arguably big movies coming out. Ready? Avatar, the underwater one, right?
Sure.
Jurassic World Dominion, and someone else help me with a third one that's decently big coming out in
I
theaters.
mean, you got the new Thor coming out.
What's gonna be the most memed out of these three?
Yeah.
Probably.
It's gonna be Avatar.
The problem with the meme culture, no, this is such a douchey sentence. The problem with like the movie meme and all that is it can't be forced. You can't be like Red Notice, Money Plane, or like Morbius. Like when it's jammed down your throat and you have Jared Leto making It's Morbin Time 2 TikToks, you're lost.
There's a level of organic growth it needs to have, and like you can't predict it either. There's a lot of times when movies come out and you're like, oh, that's gonna be Money. Money Plane's gonna be the next, but it's not. It's just
not. It's just like
another bad movie.
Yeah.
Joe, you kind of moonfalled.
Oh, I moonfalled hard. I tried to make that a thing. It wasn't a thing.
Moonfall was kind of the same way, and I was on that bandwagon too. I thought Moonfall would be, and again, it was fine, but it wasn't enough.
Guys,
Moonfall is like super dangerous. Though. You could have like a very weird cult following because like the hero is a conspiracy theorist.
Oh,
like all the conspiracy theory are right, and he saves the world. And I was like,
the plot of Godzilla Kong too.
Oh,
like the guy Brian Tyree Henry plays is a conspiracy theorist who's right. Like that's a thing that we've put in movies so much that it's really probably damaging society.
Moonfall is very concerning because all the quacks are correct and all the theories, but I also, speaking of memes, I have a Moonfall hat, but I also got myself a Geostorm hat too.
Nice.
Does this count though, like the memeing thing? But obviously, arguably, probably. I don't know if Brian can back me up on this. Probably the second best season of Stranger Things that's come out so far.
Yeah.
But the Kate Bush song,
Everywhere.
it's like one of those things to where I heard, I'm like, I've heard this before. I actually love it. It's catchy. I played it at work too much, and my coworker's like, "Hey man, you gotta stop at this point." Like,
I listened to
No,
almost only classic rock radio, and I was not very I
didn't
guess
know
my
that
shit
song.
is more 70s than 80s for the most part, because I was not familiar with this Kate Bush song at all. But I do think that is just a very good
Needle drop.
and Netflix and Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers, not Netflix.
Yeah.
Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers specifically are very good at tapping into that nostalgia in a way that some people can find a little grating, but I think I feel like they have balance it just right. It's almost too much, but I'm fine with it. It doesn't really throw me off. And I think this is just the thing that hit for them this season, you know.
I have more Moonfall stuff just for show and tell. I have a box that says Moonfall. If you can see it, it's blurred.
Still blurry, yeah.
But you're gonna get the gist. Moonfall. What came in this box is a bomber jacket that has an Apollo 11 patch on it and says Moonfall on the right side. It's really a comfortable jacket.
That's red, actually.
Too bad it came in the summer. So once the fall breaks out, baby, guess who's going to the bar and being like,
is
yeah.
that what you got from that? All those retweets?
No. I eBayed that one. That jacket is what they sent to like influencers before to release the movie, and someone. And this is how little no one bought it or like resold it. It was listed at $100 on eBay for that box with the jacket. I sent them an offer for $50, and they accepted it.
They were like, "Please, just take it. We need the money."
It fits great, and I have a hat that says the Mega Structures Club.
That's nuts.
But anyway, so memes. I forced Moonfall, didn't work. Morbius, it'll die a slow death. It's not worth its dot.
I think the most natural example of memes in the last couple of years is probably Tim Robinson. Basically everything he does is a meme.
Even Ugly Sonic.
What about like a Morbius director's cut though? That's gonna be the rough part. That's gonna come out. You know it's gonna.
Well, I love that director actually, because he was like, when Morbius was kind of tanking. No, like his comments, not tanking. He was like, yeah, it is what it is. Kind of like, I could still give me work. Like, it is what it is. He was like, I just came, shot. I didn't have much say, and I was like, great. He didn't cry about it.
He's a hired gun. Like, he came in. That Sony told him what to do. He shot it. Like,
he was like, yeah. I think he even said, he's like, yeah. I didn't know we were adding that vulture thing at the end.
No, of course not. Neither did Michael Keaton. They were like, Michael Keaton is here talking to a microphone in your closet. He recorded that shit in his fucking house.
It's like, is this for a toy?
But isn't he in the movie, or is that's the post credit scene?
He's not.
He pops up in the movie like he's actually Michael Keaton for a second. But
he's
then
actually Michael Keaton, the actor?
Yeah, yes,
like he's on his way to be like Batman?
He's not chasing no waterfalls.
He when you see him as the Vulture and he has his big stupid voiceover, his helmet never comes up. So he was 100% never on set for that. It's just a guy in the Vulture costume, and then they voice over with Michael Keaton.
Is it the same Vulture costume for that one of the home movies?
No,
is it different?
They changed it.
Well, it's different because he's in a different universe here. He either had to make one, or more likely, this is the Amazing Spider-Man universe. He just went to Oscorp and stole one.
Speaking of Morbius and stealing Vulture costumes, none of us saw Morbius in the theaters except for Brian. Brian, isn't there a question you want to ask? Topic.
Is it?
Topic.
Oh, yeah. That's a movie I did see in the theater, and
don't tell people that.
A movie that I did not see in the theater that I just saw on Peacock was The Northman, and it was fucking excellent. And I am sad that I missed it in the theater. And I've been pretty good this year about trying to get out and support movies that aren't all tentpoles. I saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. I saw Men, but the timing didn't work out, and I missed The Northman. I couldn't make it. I was busy, whatever. And I just watched it, and it's great, and I liked it, and I was bummed out that I missed it in the theater.
That's ironic.
What?
It's ironic that that's the one you missed out when it was like the biggest release of like compared to any of those other A24 films, because it wasn't A24.
I know.
Although I'm pretty sure who directed that movie? Was that Eggers?
Yeah, Robert Eggers. And
I
I
think
was
he's
a big
pivoting
fan.
back to smaller movies. He said because he didn't like
Obviously.
the studio
It was kind of
control.
obvious that was gonna happen.
He's going back to smaller movies because his movie didn't make enough money. Because they ain't gonna give him no $90 million again.
No.
That's why. But I like the
But
Witch
they
of
also
Last,
didn't
but
give
I
him
wasn't
the
as
final
high on
edit.
the Lighthouse as everybody else. A lot of people really love the Lighthouse.
It's good.
I thought it was okay.
All right.
And I was like, I mean, good. It's cool and interesting, and I'm glad I watched it. But I didn't have the desire to revisit. Like I really love The Witch. I watch The Witch all the time.
I think it's his weakest movie, The Lighthouse.
Yeah, and I think The Northman is going to be one of those two that I can revisit.
It grabbed me and then it lost me and then it grabbed me and it lost me and then it ended pretty good.
Let
I
me
think it's
ask you.
almost the perfect A24 movie because it's straightforward enough that like you could watch this with your normie friends, but it's also got just enough weird stuff in it too to kind of and Robert Eggers is just an amazing, a brilliant like visual artist. Like that whole every frame of painting thing. He's just really got a great eye. His movies
Yeah.
look and he's so invested in the detail of this historical periods that like everything looks incredible, everything feels super real and everything. So but I feel like this is that A24. This could be like you could bridge this is gonna be a film bro bridge movie where like they start to move from this to maybe something slightly weirder.
Oh, this is definitely a dorm room poster movie of like, the super underrated film, and then like it becomes
It's
more
close
out of
enough
the
to being
woodwork.
Braveheart, but it's arty. It's a little bit arty. It's got a little bit of ethereal quality. It's got a little bit of
Yeah, wait till the film bros get ahead of that. My I guess a good question for you guys is like, to see a movie in the theater that you feel like you missed, does it always have to be sort of like more on the epic scale, or do you prefer to almost
I would
sort of quiet movies?
I would argue that horror movies, even the smaller scale horror movies, really benefit from being trapped in a dark room where you're supposed to not be on your phone. I know that
What's yours?
Yeah, well, you got Yusuf. What's your pick?
Oh, my pick is not a. Oh, actually, all right. Now that I said horror, The Exorcist. I've never seen The Exorcist.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
I did get to see the re-release in the theater.
I remember my brother going to see the re-release in the theaters as a child and being like, he was like, no, don't do it. It's haunted.
I've never seen that. Like and I think the one that I picked, I'll say it later, but I think The Exorcist also kind of fits the criteria in that it has to have like an amazing score, like to really benefit from either amazing score or amazing sound design for you to really like. You don't want to watch Kramer versus Kramer on a big theater. Like you want stuff that you would benefit from that surround sound system, like your chair vibrating, like the score when the priest comes there, when she's screaming and the bedroom is shaking, like you really would get immersed in the sequences. Like I do love watching it at home. I enjoy every time I watch it, but there have been multiple times where I thought to myself, like, this movie, I bet, and I know because I've seen the documentaries and all that shit, but like I would have killed to be like first to see it. Like everybody that got so fucked up watching that movie back then.
You know what's funny? Jumped out at me. You said about the sound and everything. It's not my pick or anything, but the same thing rings true for like The Shining. That whole movie is sound design. Like that'd be an amazing theater experience.
I get to see The Shining.
Oh, nice. You're old.
They showed it. No, they showed it in 35 millimeter at my local. I got one of those fancy.
You saw it live. You saw it live
at college, and so they got like a film nerd place.
You were 22 years old, 1980.
Right, I was.
But I love that.
Shining came out the same year I was born, but I went to see it in the theater.
I love that pick though of The Exorcist because it is because there's what I love in a movie theater, when it feels cold, like in a horror movie more so, when it's so quiet and it feels cold and the movie's cold and it feels like that.
And there's also like this,
like that's how like The Revenant felt when I saw that in theaters. I didn't even really like that movie, but it felt cold, right?
Oh, but it was so hard to film, Joe. I feel like there's also this inherent thing that we don't say out loud, and obviously, not to get political, but people are all dying out there, and there's this inherent like something in the back of your head, like, oh, I'm trapped in here with a bunch of fucking strangers. I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen, and some things have happened, like cut to Dark Knight Rises, but it's like
a bad movie.
Having that also on top of like that icky feeling that you're surrounded by strangers and then watching a fucking scary movie at the same time. It really does elevate it.
Dude, go
The
watch
other day,
Outbreak in the
Yo.
theater during COVID era.
Yeah.
Fucking-
We went to go see, and you all know Laura like completely hates like horror movies and doesn't do them. We saw at our local little theater that shows older movies. We saw Halloween a couple years ago, and everyone, all like the friends, myself, we were all going. So she was like, "Fine, like how bad could it be?" And I'm like, "All right." Mid theater, everyone's into it. A man that worked at the theater in Michael Myers mask walked up and down the aisles to just stand behind like rows and didn't come. We were far enough back and didn't come. And she's like freaking. She's like, "What?" And I'm like, "This isn't in the movie." But it had that, like, never seeing it and not knowing what to expect. And then he walks into the theater, even being an act. It was perfect.
That's so funny.
TJ, what about you, man?
I mean, I was unlucky enough to see the re-release of like the 20th anniversary of E.T. when they added scenes and CGI'd E.T. into the fucking thing.
Yeah,
Bathtub.
I'm holding a
Yeah,
it's my walkie-talkie.
Yeah, like I went to the theater. I'm like, this is gonna be the most amazing thing ever. It's one of my favorite movies. The surround sound, John Williams score, everything's gonna be great. It was awful. And then my friends that are making us leave, I think to either see Friday after next or next Friday. I can't remember which one came out at the same time. But we left right at the scene where they were like getting chased. But to follow in Yusuf's footsteps, we talk about this fucking movie all the time. I've only seen one of these in theaters. It was A Bride of Chucky. My dad took me back in the day. But I can only imagine seeing the original Child's Play in theaters, like at the peak of like the Cabbage Patch Kids, like phenom of like all those type of like. You go to the toy store on Black Friday, like Christmas is insane if you're trying to get toys for your kids. Like,
you got My Buddy dolls on TV.
And like just to see, hear the breasts, see that everyone like, but I want to see it already. For me, it's like I want to take a time capsule where I know what's going to happen, but I get to go and watch an actual like 80s crowd respond to the doll, the POV of the doll, the walking around, the "I'll kill you, you bitch." That whole scene where he comes alive.
We're all kind of on a similar wavelength because Yusuf was talking about like getting to experience The Exorcist and like the crowd and like when nobody knew what was coming, and you're talking about that. And my pick was similar. Like I would like to go back and watch one of those movies that had like a famous reaction, like Psycho, where people were supposed to be fainting and like leaving the theater and shit. I'd love to like fact check that and be in the theater to see if that really happened. You know.
Before you say anything, Joe, like if I can,
no, I'm not gonna say it. I just think it's funny because we're all in the same like fucking.
It's like we do a podcast together every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can send the video to Yusuf so we can clip in here. But like when we all met in Pittsburgh and Joe's brother and his now sister-in-law came and visited, that scene, all we did was watch her react to Chucky on the
screen. That was great.
Slips his head. It's one of the best things I've caught on film that I still have. And she was so freaked out. I think it was like one of her first time seeing it.
She's never seen it, and she was like enthralled because we were all just hanging out. I mean, we were all pretty loaded at that point.
Like cameras on her. Shout out,
Sam.
Yeah. We won't put this up here if she doesn't want to. Obviously,
I'll ask her.
Yeah, the reaction was insane. And I'm like, I can imagine going back during this time when like toys were the hit, sitting in the front seat, not even watching, just watching everyone else react to it. I'm in.
All right, cut to the clip now.
And I'll send her a text after this.
If not, nothing.
Okay, if not, it's so funny you mentioned that because the first movie that came to my head, and like everyone else have some honorable mentions of whatever, but it was Brian's movie. It was Alien. I was like, that would be a great theater experience. Because it goes to what Yusuf was saying, and also you, TJ, the reaction and the quietness of everything.
Yeah.
Like utilizing the darkness.
Like the opening of Alien where you're going around the ship and it's just slow and quiet, just like sitting in the theater. I did get to see a re-release of Alien. The only Alien movie I have not got to see in the theater is my favorite one, Aliens. That's the only one. Every other Alien movie I've seen in the theater.
Because I know we're all watching Prometheus tomorrow, but that's one of my favorite theater experiences I ever had.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
It was the best 3D I ever saw, and like crowd was into it, but I just remember like this is a movie that I'm glad I went, and I feel like Alien would have
such a visual spectacle. You know, again, Ridley just knows what he's doing when he's putting shit up on screen. You're like, this looks rad.
I think like the Brian era, where like I unfortunately saw T2 before I saw Terminator, saw Aliens before I saw Alien. So I'm like, the toys. The big thing was like all those old school toys. You get like the little book. It's like Batman, T2, Aliens, and like a couple other
I
ones.
saw Ghostbusters 2 before.
For me, with Alien, I had the toys. Then I saw Alien 3 in the theater before I ever saw any other Alien movies.
Oh.
That was
but
my
yeah,
first R-rated movie.
And
Not that it had effect on me or
a
anything.
little bit. Now, does anyone want to rattle off some honorable mentions? I got a little list.
My original pick was the Indiana Jones movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
Good action, great score, like just this grandiose adventure. I've never seen it in the theater. It would be awesome. Almost any John Williams score, honestly, would be amazing just to hear in a theater in a surround sound. But yeah, that was my original pick. But I think Exorcist was better.
Yeah, no, they're all good. They did that big thing. I mean, I put in Rocky as an honorable mention also because like my dad always talks about the theater experience of Rocky of like people were cheering and it was like okay. I also rattled off the other
good one.
I also rattle off Sixth Sense and Ex Machina on there, but I feel like it's the same lane as like Alien.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of cool movies that I just wish I would have known about to support in the theater. You know, stuff you didn't even see till it came out to DVD. But for the most part, the combination of being old and also living near theaters that do regular, I have got to see like some classics on re-release, like which has been cool. So I've got I don't have a lot of like bucket list theater experiences, but
Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future.
I'm gonna go see Pulp Fiction this summer. This in theater.
I go see Jaws in the theater every summer.
They're not doing it.
Look at the annual.
They're not doing it this year. I'm so mad.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, the theater that's in Pulp Fiction is doing their summer series and no Jaws.
Missing the big one. Move on. Kangaroo Jack. Like I want to see
Speaking for yourself, I saw Kangaroo Jack in the theaters, and guess what? The lady who took us to go see Kangaroo Jack in the theaters was like, "That's not."
He's now arrested.
Yeah, it was
that
not the
kangaroo
movie.
Doesn't talk the entire movie.
It's one hallucinogenic dream sequence. Kangaroo Jack and its DNA is more like The Rundown than the movie they advertised.
I don't want to talk about Kangaroo Jack anymore. What's the next topic?
Topic!
Okay, so what CGI character do you wish was more prevalent in a movie?
Free Willy.
No, I'm just kidding. TJ, what is you had some topics.
Oh yeah, guys. Obviously, I always come up with these on my own, always off the dome, as I like to say. We all have significant others, people in our family we love to certain extents, and also people in our family who have very strong movie opinions about the worst fucking movies ever. But as very professional film podcasters and reviewers, as I take ourselves, you know what I mean? We have toys in the background, DVDs in the background. Guys are doing like that.
This guy just took his shirt off.
Yeah.
I don't know why I put this on, man. This is so fucking.
It's wildly unprofessional.
It's hot. It's hot in this room too, man. But like, I keep it on.
I ran the little air conditioner in here like for a half hour before I came in, because I knew I couldn't run it while I was in here.
Forgot 4 years running. You guys inside baseball trick. You put the air conditioner on your room all day, so it's an ice box, and then turn it off so it stays as best.
Well, I made my little school media room whatever a year or two ago, and never thinking that by like putting thick carpeting down and putting fucking foam on the walls, it's a fucking hot box. Like all last summer, you couldn't fucking stand to be up here. I got the beautiful chairs and the big TV, and I was sweating my nuts off. So this year, the first thing I did was buy a little window air conditioner to put up here, because like I have central air in the house, but it just doesn't really make it into this room enough to counteract the like insulated vibe of the room.
Sure.
And so it's been a godsend. I mean, I swear to God, best $150 I ever spent.
So Brian had to watch Morbius. Guys, what movies have you lied, fibbled about that you didn't like, but you've been forced to watch? Go ahead.
You're sparing someone's feelings. You know, you're at a family function. It's a person you only see once a year. You don't want to you don't want to spend the whole time making them feel stupid or making them think you're a pretentious dweeb. Like, you know what I mean? You just want to like seem like a normal person, not somebody who overanalyzes every movie they watch. Like,
I think the later happens so much.
Good. I haven't seen it. Not a big fan of the original one, but I can only abide to like anyone who has someone in their family who is in the military, wishes they were military, but all those barbecues, we have to talk about Top Gun Maverick
Oh,
and be like,
I didn't see it
That's
yet.
going to be a big one this year. That's going to be
Even
a big
if
one.
it is-
Everybody who's got veterans in your family, get ready.
It's
like,
this year's.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
I mean, I want to see it, but like the people that don't, my mom fucking sent me a text saying she saw it. She hasn't been to the movies forever, but it's the same thing when like American Sniper came out. Everyone was like a different type of
Boomer
movie.
porn, baby.
It was a different type of movie, but I remember American Sniper being out and people being like, "Oh, don't go to the movies often," but that was an amazing movie. How did that not rack up awards?
I'll start
Remember
this
at the
off
time being like, because you saw one movie out of the 80 that were released this
Those are
year.
the best ones. They watch one fucking movie. It's like, why is this one not fucking winning
The
anything?
movie I like should have won the award.
You know, it was another one like that, and it wasn't my pick for this at all, but Into the Wild. Speaking about sounding pretentious,
Oh,
that was one where I like never got into. I thought the guy was a fucking douchebag. It was
Yeah.
about.
Great book.
Yeah, and Chris McCandless, and I just remember thinking every time someone talked to it, thinking,
You coward.
just nod your head, nod your head. I think this guy's an asshole.
Well, to
Yeah.
start off, I mean, I'm just gonna go straight off the bat. I thought this was a fun movie back when I was like in high school and I didn't know what kind of personality I was going to take upon. My sister was obsessed with it. Me and her have pretty good, same opinions on films. But this movie,
Ooh, we gotta meet TJ.
has anyone seen Grind?
Yeah, I used to love Grind, but I haven't seen it since 2002.
Is that a skateboarding movie?
Yeah, skateboarding movie. But I just watched it on
Seth
YouTube
Green.
recently. It is one of, if not the worst sports movies, if you want to call it that, ever of all time. But growing up, she loved it so much. I thought I was so smart about films, and I was like, it's not that bad. It's very unheard of. And I threw this out there, an indie film, and it's not. And I just like
it's like Focus Features or something like that.
The other day, I'm like, hey Jen, guess what? Grind's on for free on YouTube. She's like, yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. It's a really bad movie. And at my point, I'm like, I faked this for years for you, and you knew what it was.
And you knew it was bad, and I was here like defending it.
Yeah.
Grind was one like everyone. I feel like everyone had on like VHS or like an early DVD, and it was breezy, and it was like, yeah, this is great. Like they fall in love, and like it's funny because they do some like pranks in it, right?
So, but also it's like,
remember the guy in Rat Race who got his tongue pierced?
Yes.
Yeah.
He plays Seth Green's brother.
Yes, he's in Grind. So I just confused Rat Race and Grind together.
Whose brother is he?
He plays Seth Green's brother in that.
Yeah. He
Oh, right. I thought he was the brother in real life.
Yeah.
No, he plays his brother. Sorry.
And it's got like weird things. It has Shooter McGavin in it. It has like all these like small characters and like Jackass, Bam Margera when it was huge, and it had like big skateboard characters that not necessarily Tony Hawk, but like Bucky Lasek and guys like that.
Oh shit!
Guys who also would have been in the Tony Hawk game.
Yeah.
So it's fed off of
Kareem Campbell.
Weird little zeitgeist, little corners of the pop culture nature, and for me, I was like, this is fucking awesome. And I watched it the other day. I was like, I did this for so long, and I knew it was probably bad, but I wore leather wristbands, had Hurley shirts. It was bad. Never popped an ollie in my life. But yeah, Grind.
That's all I could do, pop an ollie.
Who next? Who's going next?
I'll go.
Sure.
I think these two go hand in hand because it's like the same year and the same type of situation. It's all with the same person, but it's the thing of not seeming more like pompous. So I just kept my opinions to myself.
Right. There is an element of that too, where you're like, all I'm going to do is make myself seem like a big fucking nerd here and say a bunch of shit they're not going to care about.
So it was just to the person, not to the internet. I just want to differentiate this. Joker.
Yeah.
And like I lied about Joker to quite a few people just to not be like I fucking did not like it.
It was like you're the only guy in your group of friends who didn't like it. And you're just like, I'm just gonna bite the bullet on this one.
They're like, they would be like, "Oh, Chen, how good was it? Right? Do you like movies?" And just be like, "Yes, I was okay."
I do like movies.
And
that's a problem.
The other one that's right there, I don't think as hand in hand, but I think it's the same. I think it was the same person. The 2018 Halloween.
Oh, okay.
I remember giving my opinions to you guys and maybe Twitter, but the people I saw it with going, yeah, no, it was decent. Like I liked what they did, and be like, oh, the only part I liked is when it got really fucking weird, where the guy tried, the weird doctor in the cop car. Everything, which you all hate it, but everything else, I was like, this is pretty goofy.
Yeah.
But no, I would say Joker definitely to me, and like still to this day, like if someone brings it up and I don't feel like having that conversation, I just go, yeah, no, you're right. Like I do really like Taxi Driver. I think that is a really good movie.
So I've never seen that movie. God dang it!
It's good.
It's good. It's
good.
Movie.
It's a
King of comedy. You should see it too.
yeah. They're good. Like Scorsese's. But
He does his thing. He's a good guy. Good guy. He's a good
but-
fella.
Cut the garlic with a razor blade.
But I do think there's that lane, especially of movies that like I think get hyped up, and I think it's becoming more and more too with the like offbeat popular movies like your Jokers, your Halloweens, where they're different and they're rebranded and they're gritty, and like people think normies think they have to talk to them about you, and that this is like the thing to love. But I did love the other day.
They think that's like an art house movie. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's like.
I do want to credit.
The Joker, that's like an art house movie. That's like, because it's not like your other comic book movies, you know? It's like,
it's a real movie. It's not
I do want to credit, though,
movie.
my brother the other day. He was, the Batman was on, it's on, demand or whatever, so he's watching it, and he'll text me occasionally to get my, like, opinion, and I just goes, yeah, like, it was good, not great, like, a little long, like, and he was like, wow, you just really summed it up, nailed it, and I thought he was going to go one of two ways, like, this is terrible, or, what do you mean, I love it?
Yeah.
And I was so happy that. The only other thing I want to add to this conversation, because I know I'm fucking rambling, is one time remember when AMC theater people used to have their favorite movie under their name tag?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
This girl was scooping up popcorn, and it said The Butterfly Effect, and I just went, really? The Butterfly Effect? And she goes, yeah, what about it? I go, that's the one you picked. And I felt so, and like later in life, I felt so bad because I was such a dick because she was like, what?
There's millions of movies. That's the one you want on your pen.
I was like 18 probably, and I was like, that's
it's like all of film history, and you're like, no, I'm Butterfly Effect.
I'm Master Kuchar all the way, punk baby.
So I didn't pretend not to like it, but I was such a dick. I was like, really? That one? And she's like, I'm just making fucking.
Oh man, that feels like a Flyover movie. I feel like that
would be a Flyover
background movie for a while.
The unrated version we would have to watch.
The one where he strangles himself as a baby? Yeah.
That one makes no fucking sense.
I love it.
Anyway, Yusuf, what do you got?
I guess I have a hot take. Everybody's going the bad movie route. They're not bad movies.
Oh, Lord of the Rings? Yeah, I get it. Me too. I mean, I've definitely lied about that.
Shut up, Joe. I'll kick you off this podcast.
Come on. Preface it with not bad movies, but the way that people talk about these two movies in particular.
I can tell I'm about to get mad. I can feel it.
They often are referred to like the best movies ever made, the most rewatchables, the most heartfelt. And I just find them boring. Maybe a one-time watch, and that's fine. And Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile. Every time people talk about those movies,
one of those is a good movie.
I got those on a dual pack, the Frank Darabont dual pack with the Majestic, so it's a triple.
Every time like people just start talking about them, I just stay quiet and I nod like.
You know what though? I understand that. Like I do love Shawshank very much, and I think The Green Mile is serviceable. I don't think it's great, but like. It's a great Michael Clark Duncan performance. It's worth owning because he died and it's one of his best roles. But
Talladega Nights is one.
But overall,
you put that evil on me, Bubby.
but
singing
overall,
Last Dance by Donna Summer.
That's like offensive because I feel like it's just like a type of movie. It's kind of a drama. You know what I mean? You either get into it and you get yourself wrapped up into it.
They're like fucking 2 hours,
they're
2.5 hours, 3 hours long too.
See, I never feel the length on Shawshank. Like I feel like Shawshank moves for me. Like. But again, that's personal preference.
The way that people talk about them, and I think you guys have mentioned it a few times definitely Brian on like pods, and like when people are like, "Oh, what's your favorite movie of all time?" and some people will like rattle off and say like, "Oh yeah, I'm Shawshank," and then everybody goes like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about Shawshank." And I'm just sitting there, just like.
I think people who say the Shawshank are the same people that we were just talking about, like that see one movie a year and they've committed to it,
probably.
And the Shawshank is weird. I think I heard this on a podcast before. Like, it's literally made to be on cable, where you could jump in at any point, understand the emotions.
It's like a series of vignettes. You know what I mean? It's like a bunch of little stories.
So, and I think like TNT and USA played it so much. Kind of they made it a classic, like, you know, How Wonderful Life forced its way to become a classic. Just obsessively on.
And just as in the same way it's trendy to pretend to act like you don't like A Wonderful Life, it's now trendy to say you don't like Shawshank, which is why Yusef's doing it.
I don't think it's trendy because you're just the first person to say it.
I'm a hipster. I don't go with the trends.
I don't go. I mean, I'm not like other girls, so I'll just say
you don't like
I'm
Frank
different.
Darabont.
I'm quirky. I read books.
So you don't like Frank Darabont, is what you're saying?
Yeah, no, I don't like. But the other one is the most recent one, and it's because my coworkers all like to go to the theater, and that's just like they just go to the big movies
just
and
go whatever's out this weekend, and that's it.
Yeah, and the one that like people kept mentioning like over and over again is like the last Spider-Man. I really didn't care for it, but the way that people were just drooling over it in meetings, talking about it, I just and did you see it? Just like, yeah, it's fine.
People love to see things they've seen before.
That's how I feel about the new. That's how I feel about the new season, which I haven't watched, of Stranger Things right now. We were just at a wedding, and did you guys watch it yet? No. I'm in between watching Breaking Bad.
I hate to say it. I hate to be this guy. It's great.
Oh, I heard. It looks great. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the urgency to see it. I'm like, no, I'll get to it.
Honestly, that's better. Take your time. Why? I think the binge model is hurting Stranger Things more than anything.
I binged it. I didn't feel it, so take that too.
But I watched guys, I got the Mets and I got Breaking Bad right now to get through. If I stop either or, it just completely falls off.
Yeah, I didn't finish season 3.
It's like the best season since the first.
No, I'm excited, but Spider-Man No Way Home, I loved it in theaters, but like
I loved it because I'm a mark for the Raimi Spider-Man movie, and I like the MCU too. So and my son grew up on the Amazing Spider-Man movie, so it's like I'm too invested in this franchise and this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those people. I'm one of the marks. Right. But I also legitimately thought Willem Dafoe was awesome.
You know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen? Just prediction.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now on the podcast.
We're talking about this and people being marks and getting excited and asking you when the new Avatar comes out. It's you know it's going to happen again. It's going to be like Top Gun right now, where it's going to be.
I'm so mad already about people pretending like they're excited about the new Avatar. Like, I know y'all didn't tweet for 10 years about how there was no interest in this, and then one trailer comes out, and you're like, oh my god, I love this show. You know,
I think what it's going to be is like also there's a level of like people that just like get bought into seeing a movie, and they're like, oh shit, I saw it in the first one made so much money, and they're not even thinking of the movie, so they're like, oh, we gotta see the second one. It's ranking in bank. Like, that's what's happening. Like I said, I want to see Top Gun. I don't want to be act like I'm a hipster better than going to see Top Gun. I'll probably fucking enjoy it. But that's what's happening. People are just like, it's making so much money. I should go see it. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first Avenger was. I remember when the first Avengers was out, and my mom asked me if she should see it because it's making money. I said, no, you've not seen one of them. You don't like those movies.
Yeah.
Hey, don't talk shit about your mom, okay? I'm here. So no, yeah, a lot of people like to ride the wave. It's like, I know that FOMO is a thing, but especially on Twitter, like when people start seeing like, oh, okay, if I talk about this IP, people hit like. I'm just gonna be like, oh yeah, definitely. It's actually very.
We've all been guilty of throwing a little chum in the water now and again. I've done it.
I wonder how normal.
Well, that's what I was going to say. On Yusef's, these weren't my picks because I don't feel like I've been private about them. But on the vein of like movies that every film nerd that's like sacrilegious to say you don't like. Never been a fan of 2001. Not really a fan of very many Hitchcock movies, even though Psycho was my answer for one of the other ones. For the most part, aside from North by Northwest, none of them really struck me as anything. So that's I understand that vibe of like, but you just kind of keep around. It's not worth the argument.
Disturbia better than Rear
Window. It's a fucking classic to everyone else. Yeah. You're not going to convince a room of film nerds that Alfred Hitchcock sucks, actually. So why even have the conversation?
I could try.
My actual answer was a coworker I work with. This wasn't a movie. This was actually a streaming show, but I think it's fine. 6-hour movie. It was too fucking long. It was Midnight Mass. girl that I only work with every couple of weeks, but like we're chatting, like we get along, but casual acquaintances at best. And she recommended it, and then like literally just a couple days we worked together again, and it's like the first time, and since I had watched it, and she's like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, I mean," and you just have to bring up the like one or two scenes you liked, and then everything else be like, "Man, it sure was."
I liked it, but
Yusef loves it. I'm with Yusef. I think it's one of the best shows that's come out in a couple of years. I don't really, I don't think you understand it, Brian. But me and Yusef, it's
I think it could have been a really solid 2-hour movie.
It should have been a movie. That's just like the other Salem's Lot, the original Salem's Lot. It's too fucking long.
Yeah, it's fucking long. But even if you would cut Midnight Mass down to original Salem's Lot length, I would think better.
Brian and TJ and I could get with this metaphor, but when you're heavier, when you have a belly, when you try to run,
hey man,
you get that pain in the ribs. That pain, that pocket of air in the ribs.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was like watching. That was like watching Midnight Mass. I just couldn't get fucking comfortable. I was just like, fuck me, man. Why?
Well, it's like I don't like. It's like I can only watch coverage of a 20-minute monologue 3 times an episode for so long.
Yeah.
Until I want to shove a red hot poker in my eye.
So bad.
It's like here's a 20-minute monologue, and then we'll take a scene where a character walks from one building to another, and then we'll have another 20-minute monologue.
Stop it!
And it's so fucking pretentious, and it's like you're not that intelligent.
It was like some real first-year philosophy. Like I just read a philosophy book.
Speaking of that, honorable mention of something I definitely pretended to like enjoy just to save face. Donnie Darko. I rewatched that recently. Still to this day not into it. Wasn't into it in high school when it was right in the lane of
that was also first-year philosophy.
Right in the that's what reminded me of. Right in the lane of film bro, and people be like, yo, that movie. I'm like,
oh, how many frats do you think did the Donnie Darko Boondock Saints fucking back-to-back film nights? So many.
Just thinking they're like.
I think if they would have gone Boondock Saints and Fight Club, that's more of a good pairing.
But that's what I'm saying. They would want 2 different, like they would want.
To show the versatility.
Donnie Darko, and then they have their visceral.
I think Donnie Darko is what you like would show to like the girls to be like, see, I'm like intelligent and deep.
And then basically you would nag them for not understanding it, not because it's not well written,
and
but
then
they're not smart.
And then I go to the other room.
It's actually about toxic masculinity. It's a commentary on toxic. It's not celebrating. Okay.
And then I go to the other room. I watch Bubble Boy. I have a much better time.
All right, so
Bubble Boy might have been good as an animated movie, don't you think?
Yeah,
it actually may have been a pretty good animated movie.
Yeah, it would have been. He could have gotten into more hijinks. So we watched an animated movie. I don't know how many have you watched in this 99s?
Not many. I don't think we've done very many animated movies.
Is this the first?
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Have we?
Honestly, some of TJ's picks would have been better. Like Howard the Duck probably would have been better as an animated movie. Mac and Me probably would have been better as an animated movie.
I think this is the first animated movie.
This might be our first one, yeah. It's not really, and honestly, it's not like it's a traditional animated movie either. It's not like we did a Disney movie or anything. We didn't do.
It's not like I picked like Ratatouille.
We're not a Disney adult.
We like just sit down and drink wine for 2 hours.
If I want to spend $2,700 to have Mickey and Minnie come to my wedding, who are you to judge?
Guys,
go get some food from the fucking vending machine.
I want to see Mickey fuck my wife.
Cancel the podcast. You know what we should do? Next up, we watch Ratatouille, but we just chill and drink wine for an hour and a half, and just cheese and just really enjoy yourselves, because that is what you want to do when you watch that movie. You want to just have a nice time.
I would like a nice charcuterie.
Ooh, so my question is, what movie
some Capicola
in the past 2 years? Not kidding. What movie?
Just added a new.
Just fucking throwing a wrench.
2 years.
One of my picks would make it.
Yeah, what movie would have benefited from being an animated movie instead of being shot live action? My pick, just to set things off, is Valerian, City of 1,000 Planets. That movie really struggles due to the wooden live action. The Cara Delevingne's and Dane DeHaan's.
But I would say visually it is pretty good.
Yeah, visually is beautiful, but I feel like it constrained themselves to 3 cool set pieces because I mean it's a shit ton of CGI that they had to do. So you really could have explored that concept of 1,000 worlds and all those different aliens and all those different
Yeah, they
environments.
kind of cheat and do a sequence where he runs through a bunch and you get like a taste of them.
Yeah.
And I agree that like in a full-on animated series, you could have opened up like what's in the movie looks good. They spent the money, like they didn't cheap out, but it did limit how much they could do. Probably.
Yeah, I the other day I was watching Zootopia, which is obviously not the same, but it is a city with a bunch of different environments shoved in there, and they had a lot of fun with the different environments and dynamics of all the different animals, like the small cities, the wild jungles, the desert, and all that fun stuff. So I honestly would have rather watched, even if it would have been a series or just a good tight 2 hour movie of Valerian instead of what we got. Even though I enjoyed it to a certain extent, I don't hate that movie. I really love the ambition of it,
It was
but
definitely miscast,
yeah,
unfortunately. And I don't even hate Dane DeHaan. I just think that's the wrong role for him. It's just not, you know.
yeah, he's not a cool dude. But yeah, Joe, what was your pick?
Yeah, so I kind of actually struggled with this question a little bit just because it was like, what is the right lane for this, right? Like, and I kind of kept going back to not even so much a movie in particular, but like a subgenre, and all of those Harry Potter, Hunger Game, like YA novel knockoffs, like your Divergence, your
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
I am number 4.
Yeah, literally, because if they all feel the same, I just like, I'm like, those would be better animated movies.
You
and
could,
I think
well,
they
you
would
could
have
have
been
done
stronger.
more like diversifying the visuals a little bit. Not everything would have had to been
Can I
like
play off this
concrete
with
cities. and shit.
Joe's?
Yeah.
Kind of combine with Joe's
'Cause-
is I've never seen these films, and I don't know if like 2 different franchises could benefit off this, but it's like if we could have, you have the magic of the Harry Potter franchise. You can't really like jump in and tap into that again, but they proved with these movies that came after Fantastic Beasts. What if we took Fantastic Beasts and did like a DC version of these, where the DC animated universe is probably one of the best out there? You could do all the storylines, all different comic book storylines, and everything you want. What if we did all those Fantastic Beasts movies into an animated film, and also
that's what the Fantastic Beasts movie should have been anyway.
Yeah.
They were too busy trying to make it a big universe. It should have been like little adventures where they go to like travel the world and see crazy magical animals and go on little adventures. And then if people like that, you could have built to something bigger.
And then it's like then now here's Dumbledore's like story.
Right, and now we're getting into the stupid.
But yeah, TJ, that goes right on my point. So it was just like that odd like subgenre.
Yeah.
That's not really around anymore, and I think the one that really stands out is do you guys remember seeing trailers? And I think the movie got moved or pushed.
Can I hit pause?
Can I hit
pause real quick? Real quick. I have to defend the Harry Potter world. It is very hard to write a world where the creator died mysteriously like 10 years ago. So when you don't have the original creator,
she's too busy writing jokes for Dave Chappelle.
Continue, Joe. Sorry.
No,
I had the joke and I wanted to.
The one movie though,
Netflix show that just came out with all those monsters, right? It's like a guy on a pirate ship fighting monsters like before, like Christopher Columbus time and stuff like that. It's all animated. Like, just do that with the Fantastic Beast monsters.
Yeah, I think anything like fantastical, that doesn't have the greatest like not hook, but even like I don't want to spend 2 hours with it or however long those movies need to be. Rather just see it animated, and it might catch me a little more and do it in an interesting style, like the one that stands out is that
series. I love the series The Boys. It's a great series, and it premiered the other day. 3 episodes, solid. But they did like a mini run of tiny animated shorts.
Yeah.
So I agree. They were fun. They were.
Do you remember seeing the trailer for that like Mortal Engines or whatever?
Oh yeah, the Mortal Engines.
And I
Peter Jackson, right?
Yeah, I just remember those trailers because they made it seem they looked like shit, but it made it seem so like this is the biggest selling important, and there were these like cities on vans or something on wheels, And then it disappeared. I literally can't place that movie ever having an opening weekend.
Yeah, it came and went, and that's it.
And I think back at that one, and I go, imagine if that was just this cool animated movie. Like, you know, people talk
I mean,
about
it's called
like,
Howl's Moving Castle.
yeah,
It's
do you know how
an
people
anime.
talk about like the Iron Giant or like the was that Atlantis, right? Like they're not like
but like also you know, things end up like it could have just ended up like Kubo and the Two Strings. It's a beautiful, brilliant piece of art, but nobody saw it and nobody talks about it.
But it's a better
Missing
movie.
Link, it's an incredible movie, but nobody cares. You know what I mean? So it's like it's hard. I want to agree with you at the same time, but like, would it have gotten any? Would anybody give a shit? Maybe not. Like,
No, I don't think the way our world works these days. I don't think the money enhancement would be any different.
Yeah.
But so that's my and the only other one I threw in there. I don't know why. The first thing I ever wrote down just to get my brain starting was the movie Airplane. But I think it's just because I don't really fucking like that movie.
Well, it suffers from being
It's dated.
It's dated. It's a lot of references
Also
and
not
stuff that don't.
Yeah,
really...
it's just not from my
I think
time.
it's fine. I agree that I think it's fine.
Yeah. But that was literally like the first one I wrote, and I'm like, that's not. I can't even talk about. That's not even a good answer.
I was thinking, my brain was all over the place on this one. I have like 3 different answers because I was thinking about like, okay, what's a movie? I don't want to just like translate something that's already visually stunning. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do Mad Max animated because Mad Max is like, you know, it's beautiful in its own way. I was like, so what about maybe like a bottle movie where you don't see a lot of the action, and then you could open up that world and do something like a Pontypool where it's all trapped.
Pontypool.
You actually see what's going on in the world, all the stuff that you just heard about. It's like a zombie movie. It's an IFC movie. It's very small. Bottle movie. They're like trapped in a radio station, and there's like a weird virus outside, but it like travels through sound, and you get a lot of like interesting call-ins to the radio, and you kind of that's how you learn what's happening. And it's a really cool movie. It's really great. There's a DVD bunker about it, but it would be cool to maybe like see that expanded on because obviously it was just done on a budget. That's why it's a bottle movie. And I think maybe it started as a play too. So obviously, again, like the idea of like you have to work with a one set kind of thing. You could open up a movie like that. But then I also thought about movies that are visually stunning, but I want to see more. That maybe they were a little restricted. And I thought about like The Cell, where every little world they go into is so weird and cool and articulate. You could basically get like one room. You know, I mean, what would it be to like expand on that and see
that's a Flyover movie.
The Cell's an interesting one because of the Jennifer Lopez casting and the era it came out and stuff. There's a lot to talk about with The Cell. But anyway, that's another one I thought about. And then my last pick, the one that was it's a movie that came out recently, and it had a lot of problematic actors in it, and it looked like shit because it was filmed during the pandemic.
I know.
And that's Death on the Nile. Like, you could do a nice, like, animated Death on the Nile. You could do it real do it like in a real cool painted style and like you know so all the backgrounds
like palette
watercolors or something, really like animate it like in a real interesting way or something.
If you have a scar that fucking big, hair is not gonna grow in that area.
Yeah, you'd have weird like spaces in your mustache, but I like the origin story and like the arc of the mustache. That's the thing I like the most about that movie.
Yeah, the rest is shit.
Yeah, the rest is shit. That mustache had an arc.
I have a confession to make. When I was about 6 years old, I split this entire top lip, and I have a big white scar. So they took the skin off the back of my butt and put it over my lip, and did plastic surgery. So
every time someone kisses you, they're kissing your ass.
That's my joke. Yeah, but it's real. That's real.
Yeah, that's sad.
The hair grew in pretty good. That's good.
They hair lipped it. I hair lipped myself. I bit the entire thing out. I put a pillowcase over my head, and I was He-Man fighting Skeletor. Boom, rocked it. Bit the entire top of my lip out. And they fixed it all up and used my butt to sew it up.
Nice.
I don't grow hair under here because I got stitches 2 different times as a kid. Same age probably. Just fell on table and in a swimming pool. Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Not fun.
I fell on a corner table and I just.
We're having a Jaws moment right here, boys.
Yeah, right. I mean, I fell on my face literally just a couple years ago. You guys, I was on the podcast. I bit my lip like damn near in half right here.
I forgot about that.
My face is all purple and shit.
I fucking forgot about that. Ah.
Okay. Are we ready to talk about the movie?
Yeah.
Time.
I would say you could blame Canada.
Movie.
It's not even a real country anyway.
Yeah. Movie.
Williams.
Oh, you can see your breath hanging in the air. You see homeless people, but you just don't care.
All right, guys. So,
All right. Love that line.
so I picked the movie of this week is, like I said, it was 99. And we've done a lot of movies from 1999 on this podcast. It's just such a solid year, and I think a fun year to revisit. And one stood out of this time. I was like South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Cut. Do I even have to explain the?
Yes.
All right. So the premise of South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Cut is this new movie's coming to town. This new movie's released. Terrence and Phillip, asses on fire, and the kids have got to go see it, but it's rated R. And it introduces a whole new bevy of a dictionary of curse words to them.
This is something I wanted to get into anyway, and we can talk about it just for a second here. What is the timeline of this movie? Because it feels like this is the movie where this is the time when the kids learn about cursing.
Mhm.
But like, it came out like maybe third season, so like they've been cursing since the first episode. So is this actually a prequel to the show?
Could be, yeah, that's a good
I
point.
just always like it's South.
Has the kid always been with them? The adopted.
Ike.
Ike's from
the
first
last
season.
couple seasons.
Yeah, it could be.
I just never thought like South Park. Up until like 6 years ago, like they're all contained. Nothing is canon with it. Every time you see the show, it's a new shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that was always the movie to me. But anyway, the basis is Osama bin Laden's been dead, and to give people reference, at this time Osama bin Laden was alive. Saddam Hussein was alive, and he's dead. He's in hell.
He's like,
that's how George Bush fucked it up right there. That's
with the
was
devil.
Literally as that. He was like, just kill them guy.
And the kids see it. The parents try to ban the movie and curse words, and in the process, Kenny dies, goes to hell, and through Cartman's mom being a big fat bitch. Kyle's mom being a big fat bitch.
Joe's the worst one to talk to. We're gonna have to help walk him through it.
She makes the government go to war with Canada, and the kids now have to save Terrence.
Here's an interesting thing this movie proposes. What if a group used the welfare of children, the well-being of children, to push their own agendas that actually didn't have anything to do with children? Is that a thing that ever could happen?
Nope, it's completely fiction.
That'd be scary, right? That'd be really weird.
It's kind of wild how timely this
movie
is.
I mean, that's kind of like it's been the entire fucking history of the United States since.
But like,
well, that's what I guess the point is more that like it was going on then, and it's still we haven't done anything to improve it or make it better or even change the discussion. There's literally still people trying to blame video games. There's still people trying to blame rap music. There's still
the best.
I don't listen to hip hop. You ever hear the Emancipation Proclamation?
I watched this movie and don't cancel me, internet. I laughed a lot, but the one joke that was so well timed, was so poignant, and it was so like making fun of not only the United States but like the hypocrisy of everybody that commenting on I wrote this doing curse words, is the news broadcaster saying, and now cutting to a little person in a bikini. I could not fucking stop laughing. My wife was like, "Why are you laughing so much?" And I just kept rewinding and hearing that line because it was so fucking perfect. It's like, "Oh, they're corrupting our children," and now cut to a tiny person in a bikini. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Joe's too young for this. Brian, you're right in the same age range.
I'm never too young.
Well, I saw that movie. I saw that movie when I was 11 years old.
Yeah, I saw that movie around then. It was on Comedy Central, 1:00 in the morning. The Secret Stash. I VHS recorded that shit, and it was not censored.
What I'm saying is, when this came out in theaters, this was like the peak of like having to have an adult walk in the theater with you, like 8 Mile.
Shout out,
Jackass.
Shout out to Vincent's mom who took us to this movie and took us to Scary Movie, and I think one other movie.
You had to have a parent either just buy the ticket and be like, I wasted $12, I'll be out front waiting for you, or they go in with you and don't.
Oh, she would go in and she would laugh her ass off with
This
us.
is
She
like,
would be high fiving us. She's like, "This is the best." She's like 35 years old, I think. 34.
That's
I
amazing.
wasn't a big South Park guy. I'm still not. I watched the first 2 or 3 seasons from like 4th grade to 6th grade. This movie was a big impact in 7th grade when I had to have like my dad buy all my friends tickets and just sit in the back, or probably just bounce on us and then come back later.
Uncle
if you remember.
Uncle Fucker.
This was the summer before I
over our
graduated
school.
high school.
Yeah, so I was like
Yeah.
7th, 8th grade at that point, Brian. I wasn't quite in high school yet.
Yeah, I was
but
in
this was
grade.
it just made sense. 'Cause I
I
don't know.
went to the theater. I bought my own ticket with no problem.
Yeah, South Park was ahead of the game
with a beer and a mortgage.
They were so meta. They knew what was coming and knew what we had to deal with. So like you had
Well, it's literally a movie about the backlash to their own movie. They're like they basically like
pretty genius.
predicted
That's what I
backlash.
miss about probably the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years
Sure.
of South Park. They
It's been a
really
minute.
lost their thread. But back then they were so fucking dead on.
I would
This-
say that
this-
for a long time, the movie was like the peak. The first couple seasons are okay, they're fine, but like the movie really like took it to another level. And then it was a while, I felt like another couple of years till
When
they
I
hit
was
the
in-
stride where they got really good.
When I
with the
was in,
topic
like, middle-
shit and
When I was in
Yeah,
like
but-
middle school to like high school, that's when it was like season by season. Like I feel like you couldn't miss, and they were hitting their marks with like
what came
Scientology
first?
and World of
Was it either
Warcraft.
the same thing or what?
Scientology
what
one was big.
What came first, the N64 South Park game or the movie?
64.
So the
That's
64
97,
game,
98. Yeah.
I'd argue it, but like those two things, like that game,
It
for
was
someone
great.
who wasn't a big South Park fan, bought that just because of the like crudeness of it.
yeah.
Watch it for some
It
point.
was like buying Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah. All the cheat codes and everything.
Only
so,
thing is that game I played it recently. It's inverted controls and they're so touchy that
you can change it.
you can't in that game and it makes you want to vomit. But
this movie is like
it's beat for beat.
joke
just
after joke after joke.
I love
after
the joke of like when
And
Carmen's
it's
like,
so
"Hey kid,
short. It's an hour and 16 minutes, man. It's
I
like
love-
as tight as it can possibly.
I love
the only joke that doesn't age well, and it's because it's like there's nothing more to it than he's just gay. It's gay Satan. That's the only one that I didn't feel like I was when I was a kid. I was laughing my ass off because it was like, oh my god, Satan, the most evil man in the world. He's gay.
He's gay, but he also just like
I don't know. That's the joke.
has dreams. Like I don't know. Like I feel like
But yes, the song,
joke of,
but the
like,
song now,
it's like he's gay, but that's just part of his character. They don't make as much of a joke. I don't know. I mean, I agree that it's maybe not the most.
You know, Saddam, every time I get sad, all you want to do
Like
is fuck
everything's
me
kind
dead.
of natural. Like he doesn't
What?
play it. He's not playing like a
Come on,
stereo.
here, you
but
big
the
corny
only,
bastard.
but the only thing that I'll counter argue
I love you.
myself, yeah, no, it was fake. It was
Um,
fake.
Oh,
no,
The only thing that I'll counter argue myself is the song that they actually give the devil. It can be, you can extract some meaning
Yeah.
behind it
I
of him being stuck in the closet essentially, and out there people can live their life as however they want and
Yeah,
they can
it's
be
deep,
happy.
man.
But since I'm gay and the devil, I
This-
cannot be out.
like I think
Shout out
maybe
to
like
Little Mermaid.
I would agree that like the idea of making the devil gay like is a lazy idea from the like if you just hear it like that, but
Yeah.
the way they play it, the way the devil is as a gay person is like pretty
It's
fairly
not 'cause
respectful, I
it's not
guess.
he's evil
like-
either. Like it's like it's not an evil thing about him, right? If you
Right.
want to
no,
write it that way.
no.
It's silly too because I'm thinking about the movies we've chosen. This is the first musical we've done.
Yeah.
Um,
And again, I'm one of those guys that like when you have your favorite sitcom and then they do a fucking musical episode, I hate that shit.
Dude, Bob's Burgers movie sucked because
Oh,
of
yeah.
all the fucking bad songs that they did in that.
they do that in the show too. They're like
They
but
ruined the show with the fucking songs. honestly.
back on topic. The South
No,
Park
no.
movie,
Let's talk about Bob's Burger for a minute.
I do love the joke though of Cartman when they're like walking to the theater. He's like, yeah, and they improved the animation, not the shoddy stuff. And the next scene is just a
Like,
cutaway of them bouncing up and down because like, this movie also just spawned one of my favorite. Is actually the greatest.
I feel like we're moving off. We got the wrong point. You said it was a musical. I was like, I hate when shows do that, but I meant to just finish up with that.
Ryan has to finish his conversation.
Well, I meant to finish up with that because I don't want to leave I don't want to leave with the impression that I don't like. I actually like that this is a musical. I think it's a good musical. I think the songs are catchy and fun.
Did you see Book of Mormon? Did you ever?
I never saw Book of Mormon.
They're good at musicals.
They're good at fucking musicals. Book of Mormon is a solid fucking musical.
But that actually leads me to my point. You said it's a good musical. Like, this movie got nominated for Best Song at an Academy Awards, and Trey Parker and Matt Stone had the greatest red carpet appearance ever, where they wore. I recommend anyone finding the YouTube video. They wore their famous J-Lo dress and another woman's dress, like
the peacock, the goose.
The Bjork's. They bought them. Took acid, and they were like, we just decided to go wear the dresses, and then instead of addressing them, they said, yeah, anytime someone asked us about them or left, we just said, I'm just so happy to be here, like, it's such a beautiful night, and like that joke in itself is almost just worth this getting nominated. And
really what was the song that got nominated?
I believe it was Blame Canada.
Mike Myers performed it.
Oh,
I do want, by the end, I want to know everybody's favorite and least favorite song, so be thinking about it.
Oh.
The joke that also killed me too was that Canada kept bombing actors, established families. Like, that's how they were hitting
the Arquettes.
The Arquettes and the Baldwins. You know what's the worst thing about being a Baldwin? What? Nothing.
The heads are the best part too.
How do we feel about the racial jokes? Do they fly? Like, how does it? I mean, I feel like not like the joke is that the military doesn't care about black people, so it still holds up, right?
I think it's a great joke. I think
that one is great. The Carmen blackface, I could take a leave, but the one that they're strapped to the tanks and the airplanes, and they're like, protect us.
The Emancipation Proclamation, I don't listen to hip hop joke is so fucking funny. Like,
great.
I died. Like, I remember watching this. It's funny because I was living in Virginia, right? I was down near Virginia Tech, and I went to the theater to see this, and like only black people in the whole theater were sitting right in front of me. So like when those jokes were happening, you were kind of like, don't want to laugh too loud, but they were laughing. So I was like, sweet, awesome, I can laugh. I got a green card. Like, I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. I think the joke is funny, not the implication.
Yeah.
What gets me too. The things that get me when I like go back and watch like older things of comedy is the use of like the R word and like handicap jokes and stuff like that. F1 too, the F word too. Like, that's the mostly cringe stuff of anything, from not just South Park to other things. Like, and that's why. And I think with South Park too, I kind of like shrugged it off too because it's like so burned in my brain from that, where I'm not like, ugh.
Well, and also like I think always the implication is too, like, they're children, they don't always know the power of the words. They, you know what I mean? They throw those words around so kind of like.
Well, the one that I actually
in your fourth grade.
Yeah.
Is there a very offensive joke that you really laughed at? Because the one that I really laughed at is the teacher with the hat, the puppet.
Yeah.
When that's Mr. like, what's the
Mr. Garrison?
Mr. Garrison, can anybody know the answer to this question? And somebody answers, and it's like, all right, now from somebody that is not an R word. And I'm
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's a word that I just like completely like stripped away.
Well, it's the inappropriateness of it makes you laugh too.
It's
You're
a
like,
great
oh my
joke.
God,
like,
it's like the shock value of it now. You know, especially
like I
was laughing like it. I said it on Twitter, but I was laughing like I was 1999, man, and there was no consequences.
I want to make this like really clear, and I think everyone else too. Like, I wouldn't strip anything away from it too, because it wouldn't be the movie. Like, just because it's not today. Like, I think it.
But I feel like that's kind of like the point of the movie.
It does hold up for the most part. Like, I feel like that's kind of what we're getting at. Like,
yeah,
there's a couple of word choices you might change, but that doesn't necessarily mean you would change the joke. Even
I wouldn't honestly change a single word, because it's literally the point of the movie is how ridiculous it is that everybody's offended by words. Yes, now we're more sensitive to the words, and now we're catering and we're more aware of it. But the ridiculous
Everyone-
nature of like we're just bombing nations,
You're
we're
telling
just
Dennis, man,
stripping rights, we're just
but-
going all balls to the walls. But if somebody say fuck, oh no, wait, stop.
This movie, I mean, it held the record up until Sausage Party, I think, or something like
movie
that.
sucked.
No, that held the R-rated cartoon record. Sorry, it held the record for the word fuck. I don't know if it's been passed yet, but it held maybe Wolf of Wall Street or something passed it, but it held the record. And what I remember is earlier, I said I don't know if anyone remembers Comedy Central Secret Stash.
Not really.
It was like
yeah.
early 2000s.
Like
It
1
was
a.m. in the morning.
1 a.m. in the morning. They could play whatever they want, uncut.
Yep.
I think I saw. I think I saw South Park there.
And that's
right?
when I saw this
That's
movie, and we recorded it. And on when they would show it, they would have a ticker, a fuck ticker.
Oh,
Like the one they did with the shit episode.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even know if that was a Secret Stash. I think Comedy Central got approval to show it earlier eventually.
So, Joe, what you're talking about, they did like a special for like 3 weekends in a row, like 3 Saturdays, where like 1 a.m. it would play and they would do different versions of that.
Oh, okay.
You had
That was very developmental for me because it also had Girls Gone
Yeah.
Wild commercials in
Yes.
between.
And
Those
then
steel drums came in, baby.
Yeah.
That
you
shit
could
was
do
like
that-
hypnotizing. If you
I
watched
had to
enough
stop.
late night television, you were gonna order those. Those steel drums, it was like a Pavlovian response. You hear those, and you're like, "Oh, I think I have to dial my phone now."
BET After Dark was one of the best fucking things of all time. I'll tell you what.
the
Music videos of
the
all
Howard Stern late at night.
videos.
we gotta mention the sequence where Kenny dies is hilarious, but the thing that really kills me is like
Catches
the
up when he's
mom.
mad, his stick catches on fire. He's hitting Kenny with a stick, and he's like, "Oh, the stick's on fire! Oh no!"
And the potato going in, and George Clooney
Oh,
being
this is a big
doctor is
potato.
hilarious. But the thing that kills me is like
Racist dog.
Kenny dies. Kenny like his chest is exploded. He's dead, and the moms walk in, and their first reaction is like, "You watched the movie
They yell
again?"
at
It's literally a
I
kid
they have that
dying.
whole that I love that. It never gets any easier than immediately get up and like walk out.
What's a rim job?
And the mom is like, "Oh, that's
Oh.
when somebody instant."
Yeah, Cartman's
Jeff,
mom always
what's
there.
a clitoris? And he's like, "Oh."
I don't know. It's
How many people got bricked up from Carmen's mom?
Hmm?
I mean, knowing she was Dirty Bird, yeah, that gets you there.
Yeah.
So one thing I did think was interesting. It's so funny because of how long South Park's been on now and how established it became. And this was so early in the run. It's so funny. There's characters that are such a big deal now that would be a big part of a movie. Like you'd never have a South Park movie out that didn't have a huge part for Randy or a huge part for Butters.
Oh, Randy's
You know what
not
I mean?
in it at all.
Randy
Neither
doesn't
is
even have a
Bubba.
line, I don't think, in this movie. And Butters like basically makes a couple little noises
Oh,
and falls
hamburgers.
down one time, like. But like, it's just so funny, like stuff that you would consider like a staple of South Park now.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It reminds me of you guys ever play the Simpsons arcade game?
Yeah.
Everybody did, right? It's
Fantastic.
great. It's a classic, but it doesn't feel anything like the Simpsons aside from like being in the style and having the characters because like it came out so early in the run, nothing is really established about the show at all.
It
So
came
like
out in
you
the
just feel like you're playing like oh yeah, Lisa and her jump rope. We all know that. Like, why would you make her weapon a jump rope when it obviously should be a saxophone? You know, like dumb
Marge
stuff
has
like
the
that,
rabbit
like-
ears in her head because Matt Groening originally was like, "Oh, she's gonna be a
It's
rabbit."
So
That's why her
far
hair is so
back
big.
that they were still playing around with that dumb idea of like she would be revealed to be a rabbit. Or
She has a
whatever.
vacuum, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
she
also
has
doesn't really
Yeah,
make
she has.
Mark
sense.
has a skateboard. Lisa has jump rope. Makes no sense.
Homer just was Homer. He's just a brute.
Yeah, it's a.
Didn't he headbutt?
It's a great looking game, and the stages are cool and interesting and fun. But
I
like,
want that
you know,
arcade
if it came
cabinet
out
so
later, you
bad.
would have stages that like with
So
Simpsons Hit
much.
Run, stuff that was from the show, stuff you recognize, and like
I almost
characters-
bought that
more
cabinet.
characters you recognize, like, and you'd interact with them more. It just that's the way I felt watching this. I was like, man, this feels like South Park, sort of, but like,
Yeah.
It's so much beneficial. Even to not have that you pointed out Butters and Randy and they're simple because it's all they lean on these days. If you watch South Park.
yeah.
But And even the oldness of like you bastard, you killed Kenny, you bastard. Like they dropped that shit. Like
Or him Stan puking whenever
Puking every
when he
time he
talks
sees
to
a girl.
him.
Yeah.
That's like a really old thing that like.
I completely forgot about that detail. Hey,
there's the girl that I like.
You ever go back to like the
more
one
than that, she
animation?
gives me butterflies.
Well, let's go to the favorite songs then. Oh, what?
Oh.
Sorry, you were talking.
No, TJ was
What's
talking.
up?
Go ahead, TJ.
Oh no, I was saying like
So
you know
let's
how,
go
like,
to the
those-
favorite songs now.
So my favorite song off the top of the bat is Kyle's Mom. Anyone you know off the top of the head? Want to go?
You ever met my first
Kyle's
mom?
like that bitch,
Biggest
that
bitch in the whole
biggest
wide
bitch in the whole wide world. Big fat bitch, biggest
I like the
What was it?
ending. I really like the ending.
Oh,
That's the
according
one
to
where
I
he
really
does the
mean
black-
it, Kyle's mom. It's like he's like a twerk singer at the end.
I love the little like
Bitch.
I love the interlude of the
Because I love whenever they give Cartman fingers.
I love the little interlude of the foreign like songs of that.
Felt like the Small World version.
Yeah.
Like,
Like to be fair, like I know it was nominated for the movie awards. Mike Myers did it. Blame Canada. It's cool. I get it, but it's just fucking. It's stupid. It's just made for the film because of the whole premise of it. But it's one of those ones I will never remember, other than just being. Who's the main guy they always talk about?
Brian Boitano.
Brian Boitano. Yeah.
You know what's silly? I read a fun fact
Yeah,
that they had to. They didn't have to pay Brian Boitano to use his likeness because of like fair use parody shit or whatever. But Brian Boitano had to pay them later, or asked to pay them later on to use that. What would Brian Boitano do for a charity run like 10 years later?
My favorite. Just to, I don't know if you guys gonna mention it, but this one makes me laugh. Is the gay?
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
They're giving the examples of what.
I always love. I also have always thought about the idea that every time Mr. Mackey says "okay," he's actually saying "fuck." He says "fuck" a lot.
You say giving hand jobs for Croc?
Yeah, anytime the little kids do the hand job motion is so funny in that song. They're all like, that's made me laugh for years. They like animate the kids being like,
my least favorite, I think, is the one that you just mentioned, is the Brian Bontano, because it's like, that's fine, I guess.
I like the Brian Bontano one. It's not my favorite, but it makes
my favorite's MK also. So my least favorite is There's the Girl That I Like. Oh, I'm sorry, actually, Mountain. The first song, Mountain Town.
Segments, right? Is there a full song?
Yeah, it's full song. Like that and Mountain Town are kind of like, they remind me of the Charlie Brown like fucking mom song.
Mountain Town. That's, you gotta have your setup song like that. They bring it back at the end, and then when Chef Americans and Canadians are friends again. So good.
They needed to use Isaac Hayes' voice more.
That's another thing. Isaac Hayes was like, oh yeah, Chef was a part of the show back then.
Yeah, before they killed him.
He burned that bridge because of Scientology.
I hope it was worth it. My favorite, hands down, the Devil song. Fucking love it.
Out there.
Devil song.
So good.
Incredible. I want to live. It's so fucking good. And then least favorite, I can't believe nobody else mentioned the fucking Saddam Hussein song sucks.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
So fucking annoying. I think people black it out.
I Could Change.
It's so bad. Yeah, I Can Change. I like fast forward. It's a 70-minute movie, and I'll still catch myself fast forwarding through that shit.
The one that makes me laugh, and it's just because of the setup, is the gay song. Because he's like, oh no, we have another song, but we haven't rehearsed, and it's like, oh yeah, sing it. And
huge
just
production breaks out, and it ends with Big Gal with his dick out.
I'm super. Thanks for asking.
No, we're ratings phase, Joe.
Yeah, we're ratings phase. Ratings phase.
This has to be up there with some of the best movies you've done. And this
yeah. I mean, I'll go first. I'd give this 8. I'd say this is an easy 8.
I was going to say like an 8.1, and I was going to say 8.1. How many scenes do we give a Token?
Ooh, I didn't see I didn't see much Token.
All I heard, I
think Token did a stunt double for Cartman during the scene.
And that was like one of those weird little scenes, and that was about it. And I was like, oh, okay. But like you said, they characters you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Seeing this in the background, but you don't get it. But 8.1. I love this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Brian.
I don't
Yeah,
really-
same. 8. I easily give this an 8. 8. What's a thing? Randy Marsh's. Since he didn't get any AB in the movie, I'll give him 8 Randy Marsh's.
Joe.
Yeah, I'm a little higher. I like 8.4. Don't I look good in this hat? Yeah, 8.4. I think another characters they lean heavily on too is the Cartman's not Kyle's uncles. What's his name? Ned
Stan's uncles.
Stan's uncles.
Yeah. We didn't talk about anything about the mole, and I love that character too. The little kid with the cigarette, and always like talking about how fucking God, calling God a pussy, and like talking about his mom trying to support him and shit.
Can I just say something? There's a weird thing that he does. He puts on like the stone shells on his knuckles and digs. You know who did that? A gnome named Norm.
Well, guys, this has been a good. We didn't make it to 100, but this is a good finale.
Hey,
all right, 8.2. Big Gay Al. Big Gay Al is one of my favorite characters of all time. I love that character. Because he's just so big and he's so gay. Yeah. So 100 episodes. I'm gonna get on my soapbox.
It took us twice as long as a normal show because we do bi-weekly.
We do bi-weekly, but we really have never stopped, which is like good to know. It's
But if you look at the list of videos, it's like 170 plus videos.
It's 100 episodes, and also we do a shit ton of off show. Like Flyover State of Film is a juggernaut.
It's a content juggernaut.
Yeah. I'll wait to get sappy till next episode.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So
when we play the montage.
Oh, gotta cue up the montage of our best bits.
I'm not gonna edit a montage. So
I will make a fucking montage. I'm gonna do it.
If you do it, I'll send them my way.
Scrub through every like 15 episodes.
No,
just like randomly pick. Don't even like look for good bits. Just literally like jump 5 episodes and take something. It doesn't matter if it was funny or not. Just grab
as long as it's me. Just everything is about me. I used to have a website called Why I Love Movies. I really love movies, and I really think they're a great window into worlds and peoples and cultures and situations that you don't have to live, but you can gain empathy through them. A great example of why I am so open-minded with, the homosexual lifestyle is Birdcage. I grew up watching Birdcage, and I found them to be super normal. One movie that I fucking love, honestly, and I was scared to revisit until somebody did a video recently, and they said that is a milestone in their life, and they really did a fantastic job on showcasing the world, and it's the reason why I'm a huge fan of RuPaul's Drag Race. Is
Let's
Tu Wong Fu.
Oh, cool. All right.
I saw Tu Wong Fu in the theater, boys.
So we're gonna watch 100 episodes. Is gonna be Wesley Snipes, John Leguizamo, and Patrick Swayze in drag. This is the first time I've seen a man do drag. I fucking loved this movie as a kid. Trixie Mattel, which is a huge drag queen, said that.
I mean, hey,
huge
it's Pride
influential.
Month. We might as well, let's do it.
Leaning into the
100 episode 100 in Pride Month.
My
I like it.
My
I fucking love this movie.
First watch.
Watch.
I haven't seen it since the theater. Like I saw it in the theater. I don't think I've seen it, so I'll be excited.
All right. If you can, I'll send you the video of Tristan McKell criticizing the movie, and she fucking loves it. It's a great perspective from a gay drag queen that found that movie to be like a window to that world, and I just found it interesting. So when I was like watching RuPaul with my wife, I was like, why do I fucking love this show so much? And then like I've been watching drag queens since I was a kid.
Hey, since Joe's got a horror show and we are during Pride Month, might as well throw out another recommendation I just watched on Shudder. Scream Queen about the guy. Yeah, it was a great documentary about the guy from Nightmare 2.
Sad.
He struggled. He was an upcoming actor, and that movie kind of derailed his life in a weird way because of his sexuality. And it's a very good documentary though, and great if you're a horror person and looking for stuff for Pride Month. Also, I think Peacock had a whole section of queer horror because they have Chucky, and I noticed Chucky was on it, and I was like, oh, and they had a bunch of other stuff too. So if you're looking for stuff there.
All right, where can the people find you, Joe?
Yeah, you could find me at Fear, Flyover State of Fear. We got some episodes coming out, and just doing Flyover State of Film, chirping up on Twitter, probably being muted about the Mets and all that stuff, and that's all good because everything's great. Where can the people
As long
find
as you're
you?
not associated with TJ. Brian.
Where can people find you, TJ or Brian?
Right, or Brian.
Me? You? Me?
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter. I'm not doing shit. I'm talking. I'm babbling at Herskilles. I'll get into it with the randos. I don't give a shit. I got nothing to lose.
TJ.
You guys, you can find me at TJ Dex on Twitter. Joe, you okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Fine.
I started getting a little emotional. You know,
I've just got a little. My eyes are a little.
Yeah.
100 episodes, man. All right.
We're getting into it. I
Looking
mean,
at my tracks.
if you're not on the website, guys, on Flyover State of YouTube right now, check out all our sites: Flyover State of Film or Fear, all the Flyover State of just two people going at it for two different
Flybys.
films.
Or flybys. Yeah, we got flybys.
A bracket.
Ton of flybys.
So
I think
much
me and TJ
content.
might have promised to do a flyby and we never did. I don't remember.
Yeah.
what
We
the
need
movies
guys.
were.
We need to do a flyby. We need to do a draft.
Yeah.
We need to do a bracket.
Oh, I got my notes for the terrible protagonist draft. They're
I
just
still
sitting.
have it too.
They're sitting.
I support my picks.
All right.
All right.
Oh,
That's it.
love
Wrap
you.
it up.
Love you all. So see you next time.